Welcome. It seems you have found a portal to the Alexandrian library. I am a wanderer, and I have just returned with an exciting science fiction story called Whispers of the Lost Library. Allow me to share this thrilling tale with you. Amidst the sterile corridors of Veridan High, a stern man with a perpetually furrowed brow summoned a worker with a curt wave. "Thomas," he barked, "we need that storage room cleaned out today." With a begrudging nod, Thomas collected his cleaning supplies and went to the dimly lit storage room. The air inside was heavy with a musky scent of mildew. Shelves lined the walls, covered with ancient cobwebs draped from forgotten corners. Boxes of various sizes were stacked haphazardly across the room. The feeble light that filtered through the small window in the door cast shadows that danced across the torn carpet. As Thomas swept the cobwebs from the floor, he accidentally backed into an old cage tucked away in the corner. It groaned before scraping the wall, revealing a hidden board. With his curiosity piqued, Thomas bent down and pressed on the subtle indentations. The board swung open, revealing a dusty book with intricate patterns resting on a cloth. "What?" he thought to himself. "Why is this here?" He immediately knew that he would have to report this. The government banned books years ago and was in the process of eradicating their existence. Yet, here it was. Even though Thomas had never seen one in person, he had heard enough to identify them. The urge to read it consumed him immediately. His fingers traced the front cover before gently prying the book open. He slowly and carefully turned the pages and began to read. History, science, art, philosophy. Someone had collected it all, possibly to save the information amidst the band. He knew he had to find a way to share this with the world. Heart pounding, Thomas hesitated momentarily before standing up and closing the book. But as he turned to leave, the sound of footsteps filled the quiet room. Panic traveled through his body as he noticed a pair of uniformed figures standing in the doorway. Dusters. Initially tasked with sniffing out any forbidden knowledge or book paraphernalia, the Dusters were now considered the enforcers of society. They were always dressed in charcoal gray uniforms, utility belts with various devices on their waist, and faces hidden behind polished black masks that covered everything but their eyes. As one of the Dusters locked eyes with Thomas, his heart sank. There was no getting out of this now. "Put that down!" yelled the Duster. The second Duster turned. "A book? Put it down, now!" Fear lumped in Thomas's throat. He could feel his heart beating through his chest. His grip on the book tightened. Without thinking, he bolted towards them, his heart thundering in his ears. He knocked both Dusters aside as he barreled through the doorway and down the hall. He sprinted through the corridors of the building, his mind racing as he desperately tried to visualize an escape route. He rounded a corner and collided with someone in a black robe. Thomas stumbled back, clutching the book to his chest. "Follow me," the man urged after regaining his composure. Thomas hesitated. The man reached into the folds of his robe, producing a glimmering key. Without a word, he inserted the key into the wall. With a soft click, a portal materialized before them. Thomas's breath caught in his throat. The man quickly turned to him, a look of anxiety across his face. "Quickly!" He gestured into the portal. Thomas could hear the Dusters yelling behind them. Their heavy footsteps were growing louder by the second. Thomas glanced back and forth between the portal and the other end of the hall. With a leap of faith, he crossed into the shimmering portal and found himself standing in an impossible room. Its architecture defied the limitations of the material world by having immense bookshelves that stretched into eternity, disappearing into the misty horizons. Each shelf held many tomes, manuscripts, and scrolls. Luminous orbs of light floated in the air, casting a glow that danced upon everything. Staircases and walkways were on both sides of the library. The ceiling mirrored space itself by showing an array of stars and galaxies. "What is this place?" Thomas asked, turning to face the man, who was now smiling. "And who are you?" The man took a seat in one of the nearby chairs. "My name is Elias. I am a wanderer," he replied. "And this," gesturing to the library surrounding them, "is the Alexandrian library. Only a select few have access to it. You have to possess one of these. He held up the glimmering key. Thomas struggled to find the words or comprehend what had just happened. He quickly pinched himself, then winced in pain. Why is this here? Where is this? The library serves as a hidden refuge, Elias explains. Its purpose is safeguarding the stories and ideas that might otherwise be lost. As for where it is, we're not sure. My favorite theory is some sort of pocket dimension. Thomas's focus shifted to the book in his hands. What about this? He asked. Is there a reason why I found this? Possibly. Thomas raised an eyebrow. Possibly. Elias fixed his gaze upon Thomas. The universe has a curious way of guiding those who seek to challenge the confines of their reality. Thomas's grip on the book tightened. What do I do now? He asked. The smile grew wider on Elias's face. Gather like-minded individuals, of course, and share the contents of that book. But remember, the dusters will stop at nothing to retrieve what you've discovered. With those words, Elias extended his hand, and the key floated towards Thomas. Thomas's adventures had begun, and he knew that he would help restore it to how it was once before. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Whispers of the Lost Library. As the portal closes, I invite you to explore more stories with us in the future. Until next time, take care.